top 5 overall players on his team.
All right. Welcome everyone to the AMLoB Podcast. September 3rd. We have Crips. We have Corey. We plan on doing it a little bit different tonight. Don't have much to talk about other than power rankings, but we'll be talking about the AMLoB power rankings and the B League AMLoB power rankings. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, how's it going? I've been on hiatus again. This seems like I'm doing a lot lately.
Well,
back.
you're here now, so
I was about to say I'm back.
you're here now, so that's what matters.
All right, let's get this going. I think first, if I remember off the top of my head, was first
In the AMLoB power rankings is Jags. I don't think anybody can dispute Josh at number one. Only undefeated team, and not only is he the only undefeated team, he had some really impressive wins under his belt. Especially the last couple ones where he beat the Eagles, which is the most loaded team up front in the CFM, and then he beat Corey, who is historically one of the better users across the CFM. So, in my opinion, I think it's a great thing. I think he deserved number one. I don't think it's really close. It's not one of those situations like if he had a loss, then he wouldn't be considered number one. In my opinion, I don't think that would change anything.
Yeah, I think he's had some really strong games. The undefeated is what gives him the tip of the hat for me, anyways. I'll be interested to see if he can do the back half of the season the way he's done the front half. And even if he does, how the playoff run will go. I just know from our game, I saw some things that made me think that Jags team is mortal and not unbeatable.
Yeah.
So it'll just be whether or not someone can put it together for 4 quarters in the playoffs against him.
I can see that.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like you have with him. I feel like you have this team that has all these pieces on it, and I mean he, especially with the defense, he's looked really good. So
it'll be really interesting to see how he builds the team through the CFN. Bortles looked like Blake Chortles and not the GOAT.
Don't you dish on that man like that.
Yeah, the wide receivers definitely need work, but his offensive line is really nice, and if he can keep Fournette healthy, those 2 things alone will allow him to compete with about anybody in the league, just given how strong that defense is.
Yeah. I mean, I feel I completely agree with all of that. So,
but it's definitely not a finished project already. He's definitely got some work to do at the quarterback position, which he's been trying to do through some trades, and his wide receivers are needing some TLC. But he's making it happen.
Yeah,
can't knock that.
I mean, the one thing he does have going for him with all those wide receivers is he's got all those wide receivers. I mean, it's just deep. They may not have a top-end guy, but he's got a lot middle of the pack pieces.
Yeah.
Which he does have going for him.
Well, and one of the things that I'm kind of noticing with this game over 18, just as I play more games, is the whole roster, 3 or 4 95-plus speed guys that are all mid-70 overall will catch up with you. It almost, in a couple of games I've played, it seems more almost overpowered to have a possession type receiver. I know whenever I played Robert with his Niners team, Pierre Garçon was a freak in traffic, and then Jeremy Maclin was the same way with J-Row on the Pats.
Oh yeah, Michael Thomas has had some crazy games.
Yeah,
where that 300-yarder against.
You get those 88 speed guys that are 90 plus catching or near 90 catching in traffic. Those are the guys that will make those conversions for you. Whereas, like, I've experienced it with Sammy Watkins and Tyreek and Conley, who are as fast as can be, but they get hit in traffic and they're dropping bunnies.
Yeah. No, I mean, possession receivers. They to me they're extremely valuable. As far as like the CFM and stuff is concerned. I think that's a long-term plan. At least, I probably will adopt is getting more possession receivers, but yeah, I mean, I think this will be an interesting, like, building, team building type of thing.
Yeah, you look at the top, two of the top 4 receivers are Mike Evans and Michael Thomas in terms of receiving yards, which just kind of or in terms of yards per game is what I'm looking at. But
yeah.
What team are we on?
Number 2.
So let's slide over to number 2, which is Shank and his Seahawks.
Oh man.
The surprise of the hey, I tried ranking him as number 6 last week. I want to put that out there.
Well, I mean, to me, the biggest thing was the still only having one loss and the fact that he gave Emmons his first one. So,
and the fact that his one loss was a sim loss, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So, I mean, at that point,
undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like, what more? It's one of those "what more can I say" type of moments,
Exactly.
It's a very interesting thing. Seeing as how the Seahawks Seahawks are arguably one of the worst teams to start the CFM off with. So, so I mean, this is really interesting that he's done so well with such a lackluster type of team.
I mean, even he won that game against Suff despite getting sacked 15 times. Literally got sacked 15 times and won the game. Hey, excuse me?
Yeah, like stuff like that's wild to me. So I mean, I think that's the. I think that's the most impressive thing to me.
Yeah. The roster that he's working with, the offensive line that he's working with. It's impressive to me it's not just impressive that he's over 500 even, but the fact that he's only dropped one game.
Yeah.
He's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
He definitely deserves that. He deserves that number 2 ranking, in my opinion.
So sliding over to the third team.
I feel kind of bad for the start of this pod. We've just kind of been all over the place.
Number 3, we have Roger and his Ravens. At number 3, one loss. He's beaten me and Crips, and
Pook,
and
Dicey.
So I mean,
I would gander that he probably has the most "quote unquote" significant wins so far. Granted,
he put it on grid.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say he dumped grid. Like,
he had a good start so far.
So I mean, Roger obviously deserves this spot. To be honest, he could make an argument for 2, but I think one that's the the level of talent that Shank is working with, and of course the fact he beat one of the only 2 undefeated teams left kind of gave him that boost.
And I know he doesn't like the exclusion thing, but I think if his game versus Bishes, that win, if that was not week 1 and that was a week 5 or a week 6 win, that to me would probably be enough to put him up to 2 and be kind of that cusp of arguing for number 1 based on quality of wins. Just that week 1 game, Bishes was in the commission chat just talking about like, well, I don't know how to play this game yet. so that kind of that hurts the resume a little bit, but you can see that Bishes has got it figured out and has bounced back since then.
Yeah. I mean, so in my opinion, that's the thing that kind of in my opinion, that's the thing that pushes it over the top for me for Rodgers. He has a lot more significant wins than most people do so far. So I think he kind of earned this spot as far as like I think he earned this spot as far as where he's ranked at right now.
I wish there was some way I could turn this down because I don't want to keep hearing all these audio sound bits every time I have someone. Oh, come on. Oh, come
on. All right, so
but yeah,
sliding over from Roger. Yeah, Roger's been doing really well. I was gonna look at the back half of his schedule, which I mean everybody's got tough schedules starting out.
Oh my God, Lamar Miller just went ahead of T.Y. Hilton.
He's got Dicey coming up, Maddie, Snippy, Matthew. Wow, getting past Dicey, the 3 opponents after that combined for 3 wins.
Jesus,
jeez.
So I'm on there, Connor's on there. He's got Lights, and he's got Pook again to close out the season. So, I mean, it's realistic that he could go 13-3 or better to finish.
Yes. Let's go. Oh, shit.
Let's see here. Hot take for Rodgers, he will be the AFC 1 seed.
Fuck.
Sorry. Don't know if I can quite go there just yet.
Fuck. Sorry.
Let's see. I mean, I think it'll be close. I just don't see him taking that 1 seed though. I don't know with Josh playing the way he's playing. I that is really a debatable thing right there.
Yeah. Josh has Dicey, Bishes, Grid, Spider, Jeff and the Dolphins, and then Levi again. Those are his like marquee games. He's got Bobby, but I mean Bobby's running fucking Brad Kaya, so
yeah, that's true. It's very true. Let's see, who else do we have? Now we're at what, 4?
Number 4,
which is Emmons. We probably got to pick this up a little bit if we want to get to the AMLoB ones too.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So with Emmons, Emmons definitely has had a very impressive season. I mean, his first loss didn't come to him literally yesterday. So
very, very impressive what he's done so far.
Yeah, so I mean, especially with that Lions team.
Dick shit.
Say not much to write home about with that Lions team.
Yeah, I mean, Emmons has been very impressive. Got some pretty solid wins. I think when I looked at it one day, he had won like most of his games by at least like 2 scores, something like that. But
he's got a couple of them on there, but he's got some tight games as well.
yeah, but I mean, it's been, I don't know. I think his season's been pretty impressive, and I mean, I don't see a reason why it wouldn't continue. Especially with his division mates not necessarily being playing to a great level, at least not yet.
He's got a tough stretch to close. Really, the only games that you could comfortably say are wins would be his Vikings and Packers matchups. And that to me is more the user versus user matchup than the team versus team matchup. But every other game for him will be tough. He's got the Bears twice. He's got Carolina. He's got the Rams. He's got Suff, who's playing out of his mind. He's 4-0 in his last 4 games.
Oh, is Suff really 4-0? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, he is, isn't he? I did my rankings, and I totally forgot about that.
Yep. Suff started out 0-4, and now he's 4-0.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough stretch down the road for him. So we'll see how it finishes up. But, I mean, at this current moment, I don't see a reason why it wouldn't continue. But we shall see. On the number 5.
Got Lights in his Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah, lights in his Chargers, which that team has been. Lights has been pretty impressive so far too, with some really solid wins. Lights has been impressive with some pretty solid wins, and I mean, in the AFC West, that has Corey and Snippy, who's been struggling. So I mean, at this point, Snippy isn't even really in the conversation yet. But Crown has been playing pretty solid football too. So to me he's been really impressive.
Yeah, he's gonna bounce back from a rough opening week and then losing to the Niners in week 4.
Yeah.
Other than those 2 losses, he's had some pretty good wins, and I don't know, he's kind of making good on the quality of that stock team that he got.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's definitely played up to expectations with that team. So
yeah, I think the expectations are highest based on stock rosters, in my opinion, for the Jags, the Chargers, and the Eagles. Those 3 teams, in my opinion, are
the Jags, the Chargers, and who?
Eagles.
Jags, Chargers, and Eagles. Those 3, in my opinion, are the Madden loaded rosters that, if they're not playoff bound teams, then it's a disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, given like all the youth and everything else with those teams, it's really like those are teams that you expect to be contenders for pretty much the entire CFM. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of go about it after the first season or whatever. But I think that's pretty much all I really got for for Lights.
For Lights, sorry.
I'm
trying to pop in and out. Sorry, I'm kind of. This is
number 6 is a unanimous one. It's Commissioner Bishes.
Yep.
With his Bills.
5-1 in the last 6 games.
Yeah, 5-0 in his last 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's won 5 in a row. So
I didn't realize he started 0-2. My bad.
Yeah, he lost his first game against Roger, and then he lost his second game to Lights, and then since then he's gone 5-0.
Yeah, so I mean, Bish is obviously the bounce back from where he started.
With another really poor roster.
Yeah,
but probably one of the best secondaries in the league. At least the best safety tandem.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
they can't really hit, but they can do just about everything else.
Well, I mean, whenever your coverage skills are like that, though, you really don't have to.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think they're that secondary is something ridiculous. I mean, I don't think now in a few years we could look at that Jag secondary in that same breath because Ronnie Harrison and they got Myrick and of course Ramsey. So there's no telling exactly how that one will go, but yeah, right now that secondary is something monstrous. So yeah, so I mean that's vicious. Moving on to number 7. Who do we have? Let's see. Number 7, we have Cripps, another commish.
Oh, how did I end up that high? Dear God.
Well, I mean, you to be honest, your season has been pretty damn solid. To be real, I mean,
I know I'm 4-2, but I'm disappointed in myself with how this season's been so far.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had a couple injuries along the O line that's made it a little tough, and I've had I feel like in general though I've just underperformed whether it's to my own expectations or whatever else. So,
I mean, I understand that because I felt the same way. Like a couple of weeks ago, I think I'm starting to play more to where I should be at now, but I think my team's starting to play more to where it should be at now. But like you got I mean, you're honestly in control of you're honestly in control of the NFC South at the moment. On top of that, you're one of the better teams in the NFC. Period. So
yeah, my 80 overall team does real good.
So
I love how they do that. I love how they did that this year, so that their whole RNG system of having like evenly matched teams and everything can kind of coin flip better. How they did everything so that's how it would do it, because like everyone's an 80 overall basically.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's to me I think your season has been pretty damn solid so far. Worthy of a top 10. I mean, is
I tried to knock myself out of it, but I couldn't put myself below a couple of the people that ended up right below me. Or not everyone. I think I ranked a couple people that are going to be on here. I put higher than me, but like in like the 9, 10, 11 range.
Yeah.
I couldn't pull the trigger. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, on to number 8, which we have Robert and his Niners.
Ooh.
That Robert has had a sneaky good season.
Robert got a really hot start, yeah.
Yeah, Robert has had a sneaky good season. I think his only 2 losses are to Suff. Two of his 3 losses are to Suff. And I think the other one is to Emmons, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, he was 5-1, other than the 2 games against Suff, and those are pretty sure those 2 games are Suff's 2 games with Mac.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was Khalil Mack's first game in Arizona.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So I mean, those games. I mean, it's a different team out there in Arizona right now, but I think that with, like I said, he's had a sneaky good season. As far as like as far as like, getting his wins early, especially with a team that like the Niners that doesn't really have many like really, really good pieces on it, especially early. Some developable pieces, but nothing like too out of the ordinary or extreme.
Yeah.
I think that to me gives him a little bit of a
Let's go. I get at least
of a better look, in my opinion. But
I agree. He's done really well. When I played him, he played a really solid game. So I mean, he's in a good spot to win that division this season if he can just hold his lead over Suff, who's on a tear right now.
yeah.
I guess he's got to get over Shank. I keep forgetting that Shank's also in the division.
Yeah.
Shank does exist, yeah.
So now we're on to what, number 9?
Number 9, it's Austin and the Bears.
Austin to me has not really impressed that much this season. I think due to him being one of the few teams with only 2 losses is the reason he's here at this spot. Because especially with that like blown lead that he had against Connor, that looked really bad. Granted, it was a couple of like just animations that just did not go his way, but that looked really, really bad.
And incomplete passes counting as touchdowns.
Yeah.
Let's not get started on that one.
Yeah, that loss looked really bad. So I mean, it's I don't know. I'm just not that impressed with Austin, but I mean, he's had a pretty decent season, I guess. But like I said, I'm just not that impressed.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's definitely got some work ahead of him still, but it's kind of the war of attrition for these 9 through 15 spots usually, and he's been solid enough.
He's attrition.
He's still in the conversation for a top 10 user team at this point in the season.
Yeah, I agree.
We actually have a 2-way tie for number 10.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Who is it?
The first participant, they're both out of the NFC East.
Oh.
First one is the OP Eagles.
The Eagles, who have kind of crashed back down to earth since their 3-0 start.
They are T10, tied for 10th. I don't know. Sports is a good user, but it's just the schedule's not bad through the first 8 weeks, but he hasn't won the games that he needs to win, in my opinion.
Well, he beat me though.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
this is Madden 19, LJ, not Madden 19, LJ.
You even come out and said that your team hasn't been very impressive, so
it really hasn't. But I mean, I don't know. To me, it is. I didn't watch the game against the Jags. I don't think it's been like overly impressive, but I don't think it's been bad necessarily either.
My thought process on just from an on paper perspective, I played Josh, is the Jaguars offense should be moot versus that Eagles defense. But I think the Eagles offense should be able to kind of gain enough ground. I mean, I would think of it like a 17-14 or 17-10 kind of game of the Eagles winning. But on paper, that's how I see that matchup kind of playing out. That's not how it did play out. But I just like looking at the schedule. It's wins against Matthew and Connor, beat Bobby and his Colts, beat Arthur in division and beat LJ. And then his losses are to Josh, Grid, which Grid has been playing really solid. He's just got a 3-4 record. And then he's got a loss to the Vikings.
I think that was a forced loss, though.
That's still on the schedule.
I guess I view forced losses a little bit differently, but
I don't really count forced losses nearly as much.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's been like crazily impressive, but to me, it's been more impressive than like say an Austin season. But that's just my thought.
Yeah, I can see that. And then our other tied 10 spot, who is clamoring, wanting a top 10 spot.
Are you done?
No.
By tiebreakers, he's earned it. Is Arthur with his Giants.
Oh. I don't know why I didn't expect that, but I did not expect that.
No, Arthur's a solid user. The Giants are kind of a sleeper team, especially with the fact that Arthur's doing what he does, and he's scrapping Eli Manning, and he's starting a young quarterback in his place. So it's Lauletta's Giants right now, not Eli's.
Oh, no, I meant from the sense of like for some reason I was thinking Redskins was over him because I know all three of them were right there.
Redskins has hit a cold streak. He started out 3-0, 4-0, and now he's 4-3.
I mean, he started same thing for sports. Sports started 3-0 too, and he's kind of hit a cold streak too. Both of them have. But
yeah, I mean they both have cooled off considerably since the start. They both have cooled off considerably since the start. So I mean, it's been, I don't know, but Arthur, honestly, his last, at least the last couple wins he had were pretty impressive. I mean, he beat Cripps in a pretty solid win.
That he did.
My game with him was a lot closer than the score actually indicated. I think I was only down like 7 with less than 2 minutes to go, and then I kind of botched it. It was kind of like our game last year, where the game was actually like manageable, and then like the last 2 minutes, due to me not converting on stuff, it just went the other way.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me,
against solid opponents.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to me, I think he's been one of the more impressive teams so far, as far as where he is right now. So,
and kind of similar to, it's kind of nice that this is like the perfect halfway point for the podcast and power rankings, but it's just kind of interesting to see how Arthur and Bishes both had really bad week ones and how they've bounced back to be 5-win teams by the midway point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So, yeah, I mean, that's our top 10 for AMLoB. Of course, the write-up for that will drop tomorrow, more than likely, depending on how busy it is at work. Sometimes I have a lot going on, but write-up for that more than likely is tomorrow. Then, of course, we have the B League, which we're still trying to get the foot set on that. Hasn't exactly gone as smoothly as we like yet, but we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can kind of run through those a little quicker than when we elaborate with AMLoB, but the number one team that we have on there is maybe the worst roster in the Indianapolis Colts and head coach Emmons.
Head coach John Emmons.
He's one of two undefeated teams, and he's the only 6-0 team. Number two team only has 4 wins at this point. So, I mean, he's putting in work with a relatively awful roster.
Relatively awful.
Relatively awful.
That roster is really bad. But
that was nicely relatively awful.
But I mean, Emmons definitely has been one of the better teams, and he's definitely been the best team so far as like how he's played through the first few weeks of the B League. So, which is kind of funny because we all were trying to make it so that we weren't the ones really doing the too much winning. But hey, Emmons definitely is holding that mantle right now.
Yes, he is.
So, shout out to Emmons.
Yep.
The
top one.
number 2 team is the Carolina Panthers at 4-0, the other only undefeated team.
Yeah.
I feel slanted here. I'm technically undefeated.
Oh, stop it.
I'm technically undefeated. By your logic that
technically you're not undefeated technically because technically you have a loss. But by how
I have not lost a game in which
but how we look at it, you haven't lost a user game. So I'll give you that.
I have not lost a game in which I have played.
So the Panthers
I will consider number 2 spot.
Yeah, Panthers is Chaz. He was in AMLoB for a short stint in 18. I believe he was the Jets when he was in there. Jets or Dolphins, I can't remember.
Dolphins,
so,
if I'm correct.
Right, Dolphins.
Being 4-0 in AMLoB, that's awesome for him. It's good to see that given a fresh start with a better roster, he can more than compete. So congrats to him.
Yeah. Shout out to him. I mean, that Panthers team. And I mean, the Panthers team, even the roster really isn't great at all. So I mean, him pulling out a 4-0 start is really impressive.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sliding over to our number 3 team, it is Pook with the Packers. Pook's Packers. He was 5-0 before coming into this most recent week where he matched up with the Niners and took his first loss of the season.
Yeah.
But other than that, he was 5-1. Really solid play. I'm assuming that team is going to be an absolute monster to contain as the CFM goes deeper, just with Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers and then having young secondary, and then he grabbed Rankins in the FA waiver wire. He's got a really solid team to build on.
Oh yeah, especially with the what he got, like 4 receivers over 6'4",
yeah,
including his tight ends.
What is he called? So, the tall boy squad.
Yeah, the tall boy squad. So I mean,
which he apparently will openly admit that all he does is high pass.
They're all like 68, 69 overall, but when you got Aaron Rodgers throwing dots, it helps a lot.
Definitely.
So moving over to the number 4 team is Senio in the Broncos. Senio is the person that I've always kind of claimed could give Pook a run for his money in terms of team building. Me and Levi and Arthur and June and a couple other people, we played with Senio in our CFM and a couple other leagues. So he's a user to watch out for. He's really good. He's got his favorite team in the Broncos. That team's going to be a monster in the AFC to mess with.
Yeah.
Don't think I don't notice that my name hadn't been said yet.
Yeah, with him as the Broncos, I think he's done a great job as far as
what he's done is impressive with that team. I mean, that's
yeah.
not they've got some pieces in the front seven a little bit more like on the D line. But I mean, that secondary outside of Chris Harris Jr. is not all that impressive. I mean, it's just in general, it's not a great situation. I mean, you have a couple young receivers, but just in general.
Yeah, not very impressive at all. But I mean, he's getting wins, so he's finding some way to do it, which is really a great thing to see.
If it works,
so
it works.
yeah, I was gonna say it works for him, so that's a really good thing to see.
That it is.
There's a two-way tie for number 5. The number 5 team, based on just how the average tiebreakers run, it is Cripps with his Dolphins. So I haven't gotten to play with that team yet, so I'll let you two handle that.
I would like to thank Ryan Tannehill for being the greatest quarterback in NFL history. I would like to thank Thomas Duarte for being a great backup tight end, stepping in when Mike Gesicki went down with a phantom injury that kept him out for 2 weeks until the doctors miraculously said he was cleared. I would like to thank my piss-poor offensive line for making Ryan Tannehill run for his life, and I think he's currently my second leading rusher. Yeah, I think that about sums it up. I'd like to thank Minkah Fitzpatrick for being a god.
Yeah, I would love to have Minkah in either league.
He's so nice. He's only at 82 overall right now, but he's got 88 zone and 85 man already, which is nice.
Nice. So the other number 5 team is the Jaguars.
Oh.
Who are constantly on the trade block.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been trying to move guys from that team since he got it, which is just like, then why choose the Jags? But whatever.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So
you gotta do what you gotta do.
So with that being said, he's been playing really well. I'm not sure if his loss is a sim loss or not, but overall he's done.
I think his was the forced loss, if I remember right. No, maybe not. It was week 2
I don't know.
versus the Patriots.
I have to look, but anyways, yeah, he's definitely he's done some really nice things with that team so far. He's been a very interesting person in chat, to say the least.
Well, hopefully he can stick around. He's another one of the guys that was in AMLoB in 18, and
yeah,
I believe he was the Falcons. Is he the Falcons from season 2 that won the championship? Or
yep. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he can hang around for more than whatever it was. I think 2 seasons, 2.5 seasons, and
2 seasons. Yeah, it's like 2.5 because it was season 2, season 3 left halfway through season 4.
Yeah, so hopefully we can have him hang around and see what he can do for a long-term CFM, since we'll probably run anywhere from 8 to 10 seasons this cycle.
One tip: don't just lob it up to Julio every play. It kind of makes your offense easy to stop.
Jacksonville does not have a Julio.
Yeah,
don't just lob it up to DJ Chark every play. That's the next video.
So, since we have a tie game at number 5, we'll jump straight on over to number 7, which is the Chargers. They 4-1 at this point in the season.
Ooh, 4-1.
Yeah. I mean, with that Chargers team, you kind of expect like good things.
So, can I just random aside real quick? Just noted that it seems that this league's a little more top heavy. Sorry. Sorry.
I mean, I think a lot of people are still the first season to me is like kind of like a wash this time around, just because the feel of the game is so much different than years prior. So I mean, I think so this first season is kind of like a wash to me because people are still learning the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, once we start getting deeper into the CFM, like seasons, even season 2 is kind of questionable sometimes, but like season 3 is typically when you see like team building strategies start to pan out a little bit more. Now, on top of people actually knowing the game and knowing their style and knowing what works for them. So I mean, I typically say about season 3 is when you really see is when we'll really see who are the like contenders and who's just contending now because they're just doing a little bit better at learning the game than someone else.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm just trying to add a little bit.
I think this. Well, and so kind of on that note, Chris, I think part of that is due to just we're still actively recruiting kind of the bottom 6 teams or something, 6 open teams. I can't remember the exact count. And just the way that we handle our leagues in terms of true computer games, get forced wins or forced losses.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of mirroring how the league looks at the end of the cycle when you have a lot of people that are done for the summer and they're just waiting for the next Madden to come out, where you're going to have a lot more high-win teams, a lot more 1 and 2. So I think that's kind of why we're experiencing some of that right now.
Yeah, we're still trying to sort out the kinks in the league too. So
for sure.
Yeah, we're still just trying to sort some of those things out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think kind of on LJ's notes, kind of the general comment will be interesting to see in all CFNs and just ours, but whenever a league does see turnover and you bring a new person in prior cycles, teams could be like, all right, well, I'm just going to scrap these 8 guys because they don't fit a 3-4 or 4-3 or a hybrid, or they're too slow, even if they do have good attributes for what I like. And I have a feeling that season 3 and on, kind of like LJ was saying, it's going to be really hard for guys to just come in and cut bait with a lot of guys and still be able to compete, just because the way that the progression system seems to work this way around is you really have to kind of plan now what this team be in the season,
mm-hmm.
so that they can play a scheme.
Yeah. Team building plans are definitely going to be a big part of success throughout the CFN. So we'll have to see with that. Who's up next?
Next team on the list is in the Bucks.
You said it's the Bucks?
At the number 8 spot. Yep, Dishes in the Bucks.
Yeah.
Number 8 spot, 3-1.
Well, I don't think Dishes has played many games, has he? Not in the B League.
I don't know. No, I don't know how many he has or not. Dishes is Dishes. He's a solid player. I don't know how many of them he's actually played. I can't tell from the site itself.
Mm-hmm. I could check in a minute. Actually, I have to check it real quick.
Okay. Well, while you're onto that, we have another 2-way tie for the 9 spots. These will be our number 9 and number 10 teams. Number 9 looks like the 49ers and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are at 3-1-1, and the 49ers at 4-2.
Well, the Niners, to me, the reason I got them there is because they got a boost from the W against Poop.
Yep, that's a big win.
So I mean, that to me, that was my logic for putting them where they were. I didn't exactly watch that game, but regardless of how you look at it, you know, beating a team beating that team after the kind of play that Pook was exhibiting, you know, definitely says a lot. So
yeah, and even if Pook is running with a bad team, he's a pretty good user in terms of understanding how the game works and what needs to be done.
Knowing the mechanics and everything.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's our top 10 for the B League, AMLoB. So hopefully we can continue to recruit guys in. If anybody from AMLoB is listening or AMLoB that knows anybody that's interested, feel free to send them our way so we can get them in early in the cycle.
What team is Vicious?
He is the Bucks.
He has played 1 game.
Yeah, I said, I didn't think he had played many games. I think like 2 of his first 3 were like CPUs.
He played his first game, and he has not played a game since.
All right.
So yeah, but that was. I mean, that's the AMLoB and AMLoB power rankings. You know,
trade deadline in AMLoB
is definitely upon us. Trying to get these deals done. As long as remember, fellas, as long as it's submitted before we advance tomorrow at 9:00,
then you're fine.
Anything after that will not be acknowledged. Once we hit that advance button.
Once we hit that advance button, I will laugh in your face if you try and submit a trade.
Now we're gonna get one submitted.
Just because Crip said that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll laugh. I haven't had a good hearty chuckle in a minute.
but yeah. So I mean, that's all we got for this podcast. As the league progresses and continues to grow, we'll have more. Also, we got a pretty late start. I think we didn't start till like 10 o'clock. We typically start around 9:15, 9:30. So that kind of played a part into this too. So yeah, we appreciate everybody. Like I said, I'll probably put out the write-up, at least for the AMLoB top 10, because I don't really necessarily know as much about AMLoB yet. But I plan to get the plan is to get a group of people that actually do the write-ups.
So that Elder didn't have to do it all himself because he's a lazy bitch.
Well,
I had to. You kind of left that open. I had to.
Well, not because they're more involved with the league than we are.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I know. I just had to give you a hard time about it.
So I mean, we're trying to get it to where people, you know, take pride in the league a little bit more and kind of take on, you know, being able to do that because they'll be able to play against these guys. So, because as commissioners, we said that we're the only games we're actually required to play our Division ones. Now, granted, we're all playing most of the games that we can, but But yeah, so I mean, we're trying to get it to a point where that league is kind of a standalone. It's our secondary league, obviously, but you know, it's more of a standalone type of deal. Is what we're trying to get it to. So
Yep.
We'll continue to grow that. Like I said, get people in there that can take over as, you know, people that we can rely on to take over as like commissioners and things of that nature. So
it's a process, but it's
yeah,
we're getting the ball rolling.
yeah, we're working on it. So like I said, appreciate everybody that's just watching. And yeah, we'll get at y'all next week.
Yep.